And we are back with another edition of How About Them Celtics Talking Seas with Bobby Krivitsky. Bobby, how are you doing today?
Doing fantastic. Last night's game, not quite the entertaining battle between the top two teams in the East, at least off standings, Sixers fans, that we had hoped for going into it. So, but there's at least one meaningful takeaway that we'll get into. So I'm excited to tackle that subject.
It was a brutal night. Sam and I tried doing a playback room as a watch party. It didn't go very well.
Not fun.
TNT turned the game off in the third quarter, so we had to end early. It was pretty much as much of a disaster as you could possibly imagine for the Celtics. Lost by 33 points. Felt like more because it was more at one point in the game. Joe Mazzulla rested the starters by halftime. Bobby, is there any takeaway, any meaningful takeaway you can bring out of that game?
So I will get to that, but first a question for both of you. Sam, we can start with you. Do either one of you remember an instance where TNT flexed the game out because it was a blowout in the middle of it? I remember when they had the quote unquote issues during that Celtics Nets game a few years back, and that was a thrashing as well. And then they got back to it, but that wasn't Ernie Johnson going, "Hey, we're going to put something else on right now." You know, they at least were saying, "We're just having technical issues with the connection here. We're going to something else." Do either one of you remember them intentionally flexing a game out in the middle of it?
No. I remembered the Nets one, but I forgot that it was because of technical issues and not because it was a whomping. Because it was a whomping.
At least that's what they said. That might have been a lie, but it wasn't. Again, it wasn't Ernie Johnson throwing it to another game.
Right. Yeah, that's so strange because no, I've never seen them do that. Whack. Scumbags, we were doing a broadcast, Jack and I, and then all of a sudden the game's not on anymore. Disaster.
Yeah, I don't remember another time, but you can't do that. Like, especially not with another place to watch the game. Like, if they had flexed it and said, okay, we're going to put this be available on League Pass, or you can watch it on the local broadcast, but like with no other way to access the game for fans who actually want to watch the team regardless, or for people who cover the team, like, what are they like? What are you doing? You can't, like, that shouldn't be allowed. I was very angry at it. But
yeah, I looked at NBA TV. I'm trying different places to see, did they put it somewhere else in the meantime? Is NBC Sports Boston allowed to pick this up temporarily? Maybe it's a permanent flex at that point and they give it to the regional network. But no, it was just no game for anyone. Yeah, so it was really interesting. They ruined your watch party. They ruined the AJ Green experience. They ruined the extended Lamar Stevens run. So, I mean, Svi Mihailuk is burying 1-3 after another in the third quarter. We didn't really get to see it.
well, Bulls fans too. Like, I'm sorry, as much as it gets boring at the end, if I'm a Bulls fan, hell yeah, I want to see them blow out the Celtics in the second half. I want to see, as much as other people hate, I'm like, I want to see Thanasis get points. I want to see AJ Green score. I want to see Chris. Like, they want to see their guys. And the Celtics fans, as much as, a lot of people might tune out, like, the people who like the Celtics want to watch, Lamar Stevens, Svi Mikhailu. Like, they want to see those guys. Like, that, you can't just not have the game accessible anywhere. Like,
Correct.
I don't know. That was obscene. But anyways, that was, if that's the biggest takeaway from a Celtics game, it's probably not the best game to talk about in general. Nobody had it. Joe Mazzulla after the game talking about tonight, literally just didn't have it. Like, that is what it was. And there wasn't much else that could be said or analyzed from that game. Bobby, you mentioned before we started recording Joe Mazzulla's growth after a game like this. It feels like he's been a lot more open, a lot more calm's not the right word because he was calm last year, but just willing to share what he's actually thinking rather than shutting everybody out. And I think it's been fun to see and fun to hear him talk about stuff. What's your take on, if you have any analysis of the game? I'd love to hear it. Our analysis last night when we recorded was, what are you going to do? It sucked. You kind of have to move on. But thoughts on Mazzulla, and then again, if you have anything.
Yeah, the game is just as simple as the schedule, and no one's immune to fatigue. They were 5-1 on the second night of back-to-backs, tied for the best record in the NBA, but they were exhausted. Third game in 4 nights. They went to overtime against the Timberwolves on Wednesday. They had to travel for all 3 of these games between Indiana, back to Boston, then to Milwaukee. they were just, the tank was on empty. Giannis even acknowledged it in his post-game interview. Everyone could see it. Credit to the Bucks. They were floundering a bit of late, and they got up for a big game in a measuring test against a team that just didn't have enough left on the stamina bar to be able to really compete and make it competitive, let alone entertaining. So the thoughts on the game, everyone can look at the schedule and figure it out. And anyone who watched saw what was happening. And as far as post game, I have the quote here from Joe Mazzulla, who says, forgive me, it's a little bit lengthy, but I think it's worth it. He says, everything's about the players. And so as you continue to look at life from a player's perspective, and you look at the intentions and the character of your team, in a year of experience for myself, I trusted our character and I trust our team. You have to look at this and say, okay, is this a one-off? Is this a trend? Is this something that you have to be concerned about? And when you look at stuff like that, the answer, oh my God, the page just reloaded on me. But the answer is no. The answer is no.
Yeah.
That was off. Here we go. The answer is no. The answer is no. And things like this happen, and you can actually use them as opportunities because it gives you perspective. You're able to take a deep breath. And as I said, we're not on this side of that very often. And so when you are, it's good to learn from it. I think as you develop, you've been in this league a little bit and you start to see that. You develop your identity and you have to always do what's best for the players. And I felt like that's what we did tonight. And so I look at that and say there's even an acknowledgement in Joe Mazzulla of, hey, maybe last year I was so focused on trying to win every single game and going all out to get it that maybe I don't take the macro view. And I'm playing these guys in the second half and into the fourth quarter. That would have been the worst case scenario in last night's game, to have these guys not get a chance for clearly some much needed rest while also getting blown out of the building. So this way it helps to kind of recharge and reset themselves going into another big matchup that we'll talk about shortly.
Yeah, it is good that they just like kind of waved the white flag and sat the guys for the second half, because the last thing you want in a day like yesterday is somebody get hurt. You already got hurt emotionally. You don't need somebody to actually have to miss playing time because you wanted to try and come back from 38 down at the half. It's just not going to happen. As far as getting into that hole, I mean, we watched the game together, Jack, and the one thing that I felt like stuck out to me in terms of actual analysis was I didn't feel like they did a great job of responding well when they didn't get good calls or the calls that they were looking for. It did feel like the Celtics, to their credit, tried to force the issue early in this one. But at the end of the day, they weren't getting the whistles, and Milwaukee was dialed in enough to where when they were complaining or maybe having a mental lapse because they were upset with an official, Milwaukee took advantage. They made like everything. They were locked in. They were ready for this one. They kind of got embarrassed in the season. I guess the first matchup of the season, there's no actual word for it. And they wanted revenge today. They were on a skid, like Bobby said. They had only won 5 of their last 10. They weren't looking good. Dame's going through some personal stuff. Their defense has been in question all season. Not only did they have a great offensive first half, but they held the Celtics to only 38 points. And if the Celtics had held the Bucks scoreless in the second quarter, they still would have went into the break down 3.
Yeah, it was like we said, it was about everything that went wrong, could have went wrong, did go wrong for the Celtics in that game. There was no upside. There was no hope. It was all steamroll. And I think the part about complaining about fouls is true. I also think it does come with what Bobby said. Like, they were exhausted, and as much as it sucks, and you got to be up for every game because that's the job. Like, it happens. Like, it literally just happens. And so when you're already exhausted, when you're already tired, when you're already fatigued, when you're on the back-to-back after an overtime game in which you had to like fight and claw your way to a victory at home, and then you don't get a call you think you should get, which I still stand by the fact that Jason Tatum didn't get that foul call at the start of the game was egregious. That not that affected the game at all. Then like you're frustrated, you get mad, you're like, I'm already tired, I'm already like fighting just to like play in this game and be in this game, and I'm not getting a call on a drive where I got hacked by 3 people. Like, what are we doing? So I think it's reasonable that they get frustrated in those moments. And the Joe Mazzulla part of it has been really fun to experience. I mean, you even go back to the Minnesota game, and after the game, he's just like joking with reporters. He's just having a good time, and I just think his ability to be a player's coach effectively and understand what the players need, what's best for the players. And even what he said on the JJ Redick pod before the season about his time with the Celtics last year, he was like, I didn't know what I was doing, so I leaned on the players. And it was a lot of like, this team is good regardless, so I'm just going to let them do what they do best, and I'll learn along the way. And I think he has carried that mindset over into this season while also implementing his actual coaching styles, because he actually had time to figure out what those are for an off season and add coaches on his staff that can help him implement them. And so hearing him talk about doing what's best for the players, listening to them, right? Like the conversations he had with Tatum during the Minnesota game. He's like, no, I didn't pump him up. He's Jason Tatum, I'm me. So I didn't say anything, but we talked about what it was be best for him to do during the game. It's just been really refreshing to hear his take on it. Like, and I think it does speak to the point that not every coach has to be this, like, clipboard genius of like Ty Lue or Eric Spoelstra. Like that is, they're great coaches. Don't get me wrong. Like, they're amazing coaches, but I also think there is something to where like the player first mindset first coaches are have a great place in this league as well. Like, look at Steve Kerr and the Warriors. Like, Steve Kerr had a great team for years and years and years, and they won like 4 championships because he knew how to manage the players well. I think there's something to that, and I think Joe Mazzulla is adding on some of the strategic bits that he likes this year. But I think he'll always be a player's first coach, and I think that's a good thing. So
yeah,
that's been really fun to watch.
I think to that point that Steve Kerr and Joe Mazzulla, something they share is being able to pull from whether it's past experiences or even from interests outside of basketball. So Steve Kerr learned from some of the greatest coaching minds ever, Lute Olson, Phil Jackson, Greg Popovich. And then he blended all of their philosophies and systems into one. So it was a little bit of the triangle. It was a little bit of what the Spurs like to do, and is a little bit of Lute Olson's offense in particular, and even the way that he runs that, or ran at least, that press defense at Arizona. And with Joe Mazzulla, he talks about it all the time, that he loves soccer, for example. So he'll pull things from there. He goes and visits Bill Belichick in training camp, and he'll have conversations with him about different things. And then, hey, how do I apply this to my team? And with Jason Tatum, I think it's another area where Mazzulla, he's certainly become more comfortable with the media this season, but he's always seemed to be comfortable in who he is, at least for a long time. Once he figured himself out, being comfortable with that. And so Ime Udoka was needed when he was here to pump Jason Tatum up and be like, hey, you're just as good as Kevin Durant, and you need to go through that, dude. You can't be out here deferring and capitulating and acting a little bit like a fan, or you're here to play second fiddle to that guy. And whoever the star on the other team is, you're on the same level, and you need to see it that way, and you need to act the part. And then Jason Tatum, he takes to that. So he doesn't need Joe Mazzulla to do that for the most part. Maybe there's a night where shots aren't dropping for Tatum or whatever, and Mazzulla feels like, I got to pump his tires up. But Joe Mazzulla also understands, okay, I had a first-class seat to go see Ime and Jason do that and the impact it had on Tatum, but that's not my role. That's not my job. That's not what Tatum needs from me. He's in a different place now. And so credit to him for understanding all of these things and not trying to force something that he's not.
Another great aspect of Joe's growth, I think, has been the challenge. Oddly enough, I think coaches as a whole have grown with using the challenge, but his record on the season is pretty good. I think he's like 20-11, 19-11, something pretty substantial where, yeah, and he's got Matt Reynolds there. But the timing of it where he's like, okay, we'll use it now. It does help that they have extra challenges if they do win, but he's picked his spots pretty well. There have been some challenges that he's won that have helped shift the momentum, help keep things going the Celtics way. And then on top of all of that, this strategic stuff, like we've kind of all touched upon, has been great. The post-ups, shout out to the assistant coaches from that, but you're seeing it more frequently in bigger spots. I think Kristaps Porzingis' use at the end of games has been really great. You've seen that. The example would be the Pistons game. Yes, it's the Pistons, but still it was a really, really tightly contested game where the Pistons wanted to win, and you could tell they were playing extra hard, and it was not an easy one. And they went to him. The defenses had to collapse, and you're seeing them do similar things with Jason Tatum. and it's made Tatum a better player. You're seeing a lot of guys open up a bit, whether it's because of the talent, because of the coaching. They're starting to become more willing to move the ball. Jalen's a good example of that too. And I think back to the whole Steve Kerr thing, Mazzulla might be the right guy for this group because they all seem to be buying into what they're selling.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a reason that Brad Stevens went with Joe Mazzulla. I think there's a reason that Jason Tatum was part of the process to get Joe Mazzulla into this position, and I think that with Ime Udoka being let go and them having their third coach in 3 seasons, there had to have been an emphasis on let's get some consistency in the building, and having somebody who already had that experience with them, who already was building relationships with the team, was super important and has paid off in a big way for this group. Because as much as Ime did a good job on the floor, like motivating them and calling them out and all that stuff and turning that season around, I think with this group, with how many personalities and how many stars the Celtics now have on the roster, it's almost more important to have a guy who knows how to, I don't want to say please everybody, but make sure everybody is in their best individual position to succeed. And I've been writing a series on Celtics blog about it. Like, as much as sacrifice has been the talk of the season, it seems to me like it's less sacrifice and more refinement. Like, I've written 2 articles so far, one on Jaylen Brown, one on Drew Holiday. And basically, it's Jaylen Brown has sacrificed in certain areas, but he's driving more than anybody else on the team. Like, he is focusing on one specific area where he is best, and that's where he's putting all his energy, because that's what the team needs, because he won't have as much room to do the other stuff. And so his drives are at an all-time high. He's improved his playmaking off those drives, and he's finishing at the rim at a high level, including in the mid-range, the turnarounds. Drew Holiday sacrificing offense, but he's refining his game by focusing on defense. He's leading the defense. He's talking everywhere. Like, Joe Mazzulla challenged him with being the quarterback. So I think he's done a good job of allowing everybody to find these niche roles where they can be at their best. But speaking of Ime Udoka, he'll be in town on Saturday for the Celtics game against the Rockets. Bobby, you mentioned it. Best thing the Celtics can do now after that Bucks loss is move on. Drew Holiday said the same after the Bucks game. Time to focus on the Rockets game. We can talk about the Ime Udoka return as well, but first, the Rockets in particular have been pretty good this year. Alperen Şengün is playing like an all-star. Fred VanVleet is, making an impact on defense and is one of the better playmakers in the league. They've got young guys, Jalen Green, Jabari Smith, Tari Eason, Amen Thompson. What are your thoughts on the matchup with the Rockets, Bobby, and how do you see the Celtics approaching it?
Yeah, I mean, Ime, he's an outstanding defensive coach, and he's got those guys buying in and playing hard on. Last year, they were a mess. There was just no structure or anything. And guys, you could question everything from their effort to their cohesion to their development. And this season, it's the total opposite. And it helps to have the vets like a Dylan Brooks with so much to prove after everything that went on last season. And Fred VanVleet is as great a vet as you're going to find. And so that certainly makes a big difference for these younger players. But the Rockets, they are defensively, they've become something that I don't think anyone saw coming, quite frankly. No one expected them to be in the play-in tournament in January at this point. And so credit to them. They play hard. They're going to want this game for Ime, and they're going to come with a ton of energy and physicality, and they're going to really do everything they can defensively to challenge these guys. And if you remember, Ime was open about when he came to Boston, ideas that he had and that the benefits of his familiarity with Kevin Durant in particular. And we saw it unfold when they went head-to-head in the playoffs. And he knows Jason and Jalen pretty well. Now, these are evolved forms of these two. He got them at a younger point in their journeys, but nonetheless, he understands their games and who they are at their core. And so it's going to be really interesting to see how he challenges them, how they respond, and does this become a blueprint for other teams moving forward? Because I guarantee you the Miami Heat, the Philadelphia 76ers, anyone who thinks they might run into Boston in the playoffs is going to be studying this game carefully.
Yeah, I'm excited for it because Houston was always a fun team to me. Like, going into the summer, they were really exciting. They had cap space. They had some draft picks. They ended up doing well in the draft. They got Thompson and Whitmore, who they're both kind of thinking about taking with the 4th pick, and they got both of them. So W for them. I like Jabari Smith Jr. a lot last year when he was coming into the draft. He didn't get a whole lot of oh my gosh, what's the word? What's
Touches,
consistency about
opportunity.
his game as a rookie. He struggled a lot. This year he's been better, which is good for them. And then having veterans like Van Vliet and Dylan Brooks come in has probably helped this group too. Not to mention Şengün being baby Jokic. That's another guy that everyone should be excited to watch. He does crazy stuff. He has the Jokic look where you would be like, this guy is not a pro basketball player. No way. He sure is. He said some posters this year. He passes the ball well. Houston as a group hasn't been playing that great lately. They've lost 3 of 4 as they head into Detroit to play the Pistons as the first part of a back-to-back with the Celtics tomorrow. Losing to Chicago in overtime, Miami, but they did beat Milwaukee, and they beat Milwaukee pretty handedly, even though it was only a 4-point win. It was very similar to the Celtics win against the Bucks, where they were just all over them, and then Milwaukee tried to storm back, but they couldn't finish it. So, to Bobby's point, they're going to have a fire about them with Ime. They've proven that they can hang with good teams. So this is one to be careful with if you're the Celtics, but you should still be able to win.
Yeah, I think first of all, the back-to-backs thing is getting annoying. Like the Celtics on a back-to-back going to Milwaukee, Houston on a back-to-back traveling. Like it's getting to the part of the season where we're
What's
like,
annoying?
guys, the fact that every matchup we see is like this team's on a back-to-back, so you're probably not going to get their best. Like the
That's
whole
always how it is,
schedule.
though.
I know, but the whole point of like the schedule, like the adjustments, these mini series, all this stuff, they're like trying to make it so like there's less of that, and there's so much of it, and as much of it
Did
sucked.
you hear Drew Holiday on it after the game? He got
No,
asked about it, and he started laughing, and he was like, "Look, that's not for me to comment on, but yeah, I'm sure that you can do something to make this better."
It's tough. It's tough. But as far as the Rockets, like y'all said, Şengün's been great this year. He's been really fun to watch. I've enjoyed him. He's fun. Ime Udoka is going to be interesting to see how he handles it. I think that's probably got to be the most interesting part of this whole thing. I know Sam has asked the question to me multiple times, like, do you think he gets booed? Do you think he gets cheered in
Yeah,
Boston? The
Jake asked
reception's going to
us.
be interesting. Jake, yeah, shout out first to the floor. But like, I don't know. Bobby, what do you think the reception will be like from the fans and the players and all that stuff?
Well, so I'm glad that we got to this topic because Ime did an interview with Mark Spears of Anscape, and shout out to Hall of Famer Mark J. Spears, where he said, I don't know what the reaction's going to be, but I'm huge on 2 things, and that's accountability. So I have to be out in front of what happened. I'm not ducking from it. And then secondly, that I'm just trying to move forward. So this is a big step in that process and coming back to Boston for the first time, but he's really not caught up in what that reaction's going to be. And I mean, there's so much to unpack with what the reaction should be, especially when you factor in that the reason he's not here anymore is largely unknown. And there's so much mystery around it. So there's kind of that question of, is this a person we should be cheering for? We don't know what happened. And so from a coaching standpoint and what he did for the Celtics and getting them to the finals and the development of Tatum and Brown in particular, like he deserves a thunderous ovation for that. But the other side of it, and that it's shrouded in this unknown mystery, it makes it tough to parse through it. And we'll see how the crowd decides to compartmentalize all of that and what reaction he gets. I anticipate it's going to be cheers for him at the start of the game. We'll find out come Saturday night. But it is going to be interesting to see, not just from an on-court and a basketball perspective, how Tatum and Brown and these guys handle him being in the building and playing against his team, but also from a maturity and a mental and an emotional side of going up against a coach who, even during last season, they were talking about, yeah, we don't love that he's not here anymore or the way it went down and we didn't get clarity and we miss him. They're all still close with him. That's something else that Ime talked about, that they spoke last year. They spoke during this season. They continue to talk. They all saw each other at Marcus Smart's wedding in California over the summer. So also from just a human side of it, how they handled their first chance to go up against him since he left.
It sucks. I mean, as a human, as Bobby kind of like highlighted at the end, anytime somebody is in somewhat of a leadership position and you grow close with them, it's a very important relationship. So as a coach, those guys obviously looked up to him or at least enjoyed working with him. I guess it's kind of more of a professional sense, more than like a high school or college setting where that's like the older person that you look up to. But obviously they had some sort of meaningful connection. They were all somewhat upset about it. The details not being out is conflicting because you don't really know what to think, but also they can't really say anything from a legal standpoint because there was a whole investigation and you don't want to fumble anything if you're trying to do anything in court. It's tough. I personally think the fans will give him a warm welcome. I think there are a lot of fans that just looked at what he did on the basketball court and did have appreciation for he turned not only like he got these guys to the finals, but like that was a miserable season for the first half of it. And whatever clicked, whether it was him or just the team itself, it was special for like January all the way up through June. That was some of the most fun I've had watching Celtics basketball in a while. And it sucks that he had to no longer be a part of the organization. And it sucks even more that we really don't know how to feel because we don't know stuff. Like I have trouble talking about this because I don't really know. Like I don't want to like slam him too hard because we don't know exactly what happened.
Yeah, I mean,
I know you feel differently.
well, listen, from what we have heard, it's all speculation, right? It's all like,
and that's the tough part.
I know, and some of it was reporting, some of it was Woj and Shams, and I do blame Woj and Shams for all of the confusion, in my opinion, because I think they caused a lot of the we don't know talk. Because realistically, we got incorrect reporting, and then we got correct reporting, but because we got two different conflicting reports, it's a lot of we don't know. We kind of do know. They reported that he was inappropriate. Like that is what was reported. And as much as we don't know, because like Brad Stevens hasn't said it, I hate to break it to y'all, not YouTube, but like the metaphorical people watching, we're never gonna know. Like that's not something we're gonna be able to know because of the legal process.
I don't think we should know. I think that you have to respect the privacy of all parties involved.
There's gonna be a fire doc at some point. I'm telling you right now.
No, there will not be.
No,
not with there's gonna be
one of those
process.
Netflix untold.
No chance.
I'm telling you right now.
But from the reports we got, Ime Udoka was in a what assumed to be a consensual relationship with a superior, which is already like you're riding a fine line there, buddy. Just be careful what you do. Like it's fine if nothing goes wrong, I guess, but if something does go wrong, and like what happened, something went wrong. It turned apparently by reporting that he was making inappropriate advances and all this stuff. Like, and listen, I understand he was great on the basketball court, and I also think he will probably get cheered here. I just hate how the narrative has become blame the Celtics for firing this guy. He did it to himself. Everybody, like, why is the message like 100% get mad at Brad, get mad at the team? Brad Stevens was in tears defending the woman who he was reportedly creepy towards. And we're going to blame him for firing the guy who ruined the situation for himself. That's the part that makes me mad and gets me so defensive about the situation because I think that's a bunch of crap. I understand why
I don't think there's enough sympathy towards the other side of the equation here. There were people trying to figure out who in the Celtics organization is this and putting names out there. I mean, that's disgusting behavior. And again, it kind of speaks to not properly balancing real life and all of that, and certainly appropriate conduct and basketball and entertainment and wanting your favorite team to win games.
Yeah. So that's the part that gets me frustrated. I do think he'll get cheered because of what he did on the court, and it is what it is. Like I don't necessarily blame fans for that. I just wish more people took the approach that you mentioned, Bobby, where it's like, guys, it's basketball is a game, and there are like actual human lives and people being affected by these situations that aren't, that go beyond the put the ball in the hoop. Like that's not the end all be all of everything. So that's the part that gets me amped up and frustrated. But last thing we got,
it's his fault thing is important. Like,
yes.
I think we all kind of tend to forget. I don't blame the Celtics, but you do forget, like, oh, like, there's a reason this happened, and it's him. Like, if it wasn't for him, he'd still be coaching the team. If he had self-control, he'd probably still be coaching the team. So I think that's very important to bring back to the forefront.
I agree. But anyways, last thing we got, Marcus Smart, former Celtic, is injured. He hurt his finger, right? Am I crazy? Why do I feel like I got it wrong? I was going to say, he hurt his finger.
Labeled a severe finger injury.
Yeah, severe right finger injury. Going to be sidelined for at least 6 weeks, which means he will likely, almost certainly miss the Celtics' upcoming game against the Grizzlies, which means he will miss his return to TD Garden, which stinks. So
Stinks even worse.
Just
You bought a
thoughts.
ticket.
Yeah.
Okay, first I want to put a question to you guys. Very simple. Are we locked into there's no way that Marcus Smart, of all people, is going to be out there with this finger injury? 6 weeks is the long side of the timeline. He's going to do everything he can to get back. Are we putting in pen that Marcus Smart is out on February 4th?
I'll give it 80-20 that he doesn't play. 20% chance he plays.
Sam?
I'm not a doctor. But if I was Marcus,
You're the
I
worst.
would probably want to just at least suit up and go out there for a minute.
Okay, next question. Do we think, and I don't know what his read is, but maybe it's easier to not play in this game because of all the emotions, to just take it in from the sideline?
I think it's more special personally when they get to play.
Definitely.
Just having, I mean, we've seen a lot of this stuff over the last 10 years, like with Pierce and Garnett first, and they come back, and that was a special day. Then there's the Rondo game, and he comes back and makes a zillion threes. Other guys like Isaiah, the Isaiah one was a mess because he didn't play, and he didn't want to be there because he wasn't playing, and his family couldn't be there. And then the next one was supposed to be on Paul Pierce Day, and that created a whole bunch of controversy. And he didn't end up getting it until he was with Denver 3 years later, or something crazy like that.
Mm-hmm.
There have been a lot of them, and it's just, I always enjoy those days quite a bit. So I hope he's there, and I would like to see him play. For the people that paid for a ticket. Like, make no mistake, the Celtics are good, and they know it. So they charge as much as they can to get in the building, and they know people love him, and they said, we're going to charge even more. So if you bought tickets to that game, you got to be sweating. You got to be sweating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it especially sucks, like you said, for the people who bought tickets anticipating a return for Marcus Smart because that's what they wanted to see. I would speculate that, like, oh, maybe they'll give money back. They're not giving money back.
No.
But yeah, it stinks. You wanted to see him in the game. You want to see him return to the Garden. You have to assume that. I wonder if he does do an Isaiah where he just doesn't show up because he's not playing, or he does try to play. I don't think there'll be an in between. Like, I don't know if he'll want to come back and just be on the bench. Although he is the type of guy where he'd put the team first, so he'd probably want to be there to support his team anyways. But it just stinks. It stinks that he's not going to play. You hope he recovers, and maybe, like Bobby said, there's a chance that he gets healthy quick. But
yeah, the Grizzlies, they need to cleanse their aura. I mean, they've had no luck this season. Marcus Smart, he couldn't play the first time against the Celtics at FedEx Forum because of the ankle injury. Now it's the finger. I mean, Ja obviously out for the season. They need to completely, like, they need some of that Kyrie Irving sage.
Yeah, evidently so. I don't know if many people need that sage,
tank,
but
baby.
Yeah, maybe get it from someone else, but they need some sage. They need an aura cleansing. They need a lot because this season has been a train wreck.
Yes, it has been. But I think that was the last thing we had. I do have 2 cards here. I'm going to let you guys pick which one you want to do.
Oh, hell yeah.
I'm not going to tell you the questions, but do you want hard or really hard?
Let's go really hard.
Really hard. If it's Celtics,
Okay.
really hard.
They are, in fact, Celtics. So which one was really hard? This one was really hard. Okay, let me pull up the Google Sheets so we can keep score so the people at home can watch and see how y'all do.
We're trying to create a win streak on this side.
Yeah, what is the score? Bobby's
2-1.
won
2-1, but it's like 2 massive blowouts to 1 victory.
Hey, that 1 victory counts all the same. A win is a win.
Exactly.
All right, let's share screen here.
Right, so he kind of
Game
Oklahoma
show
City
popping.
Thunder to Portland Trailblazered me, but yet it's 2-1.
Celtics Bucks, some would say.
All right. Do we think this view is better? Let's rock with this view.
I like this.
I like this.
Okay, let me throw on this background then, and we can get rocking. Okay, so from 1987 through the 2021-2022 season, 10 players listed 5'11" or shorter have suited up for the Celtics. Name those 10 players. Bobby won last time, so we'll let him kick off. That's how we can do it from now, and we'll do whoever won last time goes first. Bobby, please start us off.
In case we had the same name to start with, thank God I'm going first. Phil Pressey.
Bang.
Oh, that's a good
Correct.
one. I was going to say that.
Correct. Sam.
Isaiah.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, he's on the list. I
was like, what?
Yeah, Isaiah Thomas on the list. Bobby, back to you.
I'm getting in trouble because I'm
10
trying to think
names.
back to who was so short in 1987, but there might not have been someone on the team that year. I understand.
Rereading this is not quite as hard of a complete list as I thought it was, but
How many
Tyus
games
Edney.
total?
wow. That was the only name I was sure nobody would get.
We came to play.
That was incredible. I don't even know who that is. That was amazing. Phenomenal. Yes, Sam, all you.
Dana Barrows.
Yes, also on the list. Let's see. All right. You guys are getting all the names I wouldn't get. Bobby, go ahead. I might have gotten Barrows, but I didn't know he was that short.
Idiot wouldn't have got Isaiah.
Shut up. You're the worst. All right, Bobby. There's only one name I don't think you'll get, and two that could be, and another one outside of that might be questionable. Everything else is like pretty gettable, I'd say. I don't even know who this person is.
Oh boy. Under 6 feet.
Yeah, it's tough. 1, 2, 3, 4. The clue I'll give you is 4 of them have played since like the 2008 era. So like 2008 and forward, or 4 of the 6 names left. So that's why I think it's pretty gettable.
Forward. They're on the team.
And then 2 are, one is like 90s, and the other is
Carson Edwards.
Yes.
Let's go.
Jack just keeps talking, dude.
Well, I mean, we were getting some real bad radio silence on my end.
Yeah, I need to fill the void for you guys being silent.
I mean,
like that's not your fault. You're thinking, but I'm trying. I'm trying to like keep people watching. Sam, your turn. Oh, Sam's frozen, so now I really have to filibuster. That's great. And so, Bobby, get an insight into what I have to deal with. Sam freezes. I don't want to edit, so I just filibuster.
The IT gods are often not on Sam's
Nate
side.
Robinson.
Yes,
correct.
There we go.
He just
Good
look
call.
up an answer and come back.
Yeah, he's cheating. The Wi-Fi freezes.
I had Carson Edwards and Nate Robinson, and I thought the hint he was going to give is a bunch of these guys have worn the same number.
No, I don't know numbers off the
Isaiah 4, Edwards 4, Nate Robinson 4.
I don't got it like that, Sam. Bobby, all you.
How many names are left?
4 names left.
Wow.
I think I was wrong. I think one more.
I think I have. Boy, I'm right on the line with this.
Mm.
I'm going to take, this might be a really stupid gamble. Kemba Walker.
No, he's 6 foot. I think he's listed as 6 foot.
I need an official measurement before we move forward.
Yeah.
Let's call up Kemba.
Y'all got 4 names left. 3 of them have played since 2000. And one was in the 90s.
Oh, man.
80s/90s, I think. Let me double check that.
80s/90s.
He played for the Celtics in the mid to late 80s for 1 season. So good luck. You're not going to get that one. Don't focus on that one, please.
Since the 2000s, I'm struggling.
Mm.
Should I be struggling?
2 of them, no. 2 of them you should get.
2 of them, no.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Once you guess, I'll give the errors because Bobby went first, so I want to make it fair. But
okay.
Then we'll get rocking here.
This is so bad. I'm sorry.
No.
Did the one who played 1 season for the Celtics in the 80s have a long NBA career?
He played 3 games for the Celtics. He played for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different teams and didn't play more than 1 season with any of them. So no.
Okay.
You guys aren't going to get that guy. Don't focus. One of his nicknames is his name Turnover. So don't focus on him too much.
Yeah, that one.
Oh man.
So basically we have 3 names left.
Yeah,
I'm going to guess
I'll guess that guy.
JB Bremer?
J.R. Bremer. No, I don't think so.
He was, how tall was he? I don't even know who that is.
6'2" or something.
I'm filibustering. 6'2".
It's a great name drop though.
The clues. One of them is, did this guy play? One of them is Isaiah Thomas-ish era. Not, that's a lie. 2 of them are Tatum era. 2 are Tatum.
Oh, I know one of them, I think.
One is double checking when they played for the Celtics. One is pre-Big 3 era. So Paul Pierce era, but before the Big 3. And then the other one is the one you're not going to get. So Bobby.
Tatum era. That screwed me.
All right, so we've got.
G-Rock.
Sorry. So 2 were Tatum era, you said? Is that correct?
Yes, one was riding the line of Tatum era, but yes, they're both Tatum era technically. So we'll see how y'all do, but yeah, I the eras are there. 2 of them you guys should get, and you're gonna be kicking yourselves if you don't. The other 2 are like meh. So that's where we're at.
This is a strange feeling.
What?
I mean,
I just have nothing.
One of them is if you don't get it, you're going to be actually mad at yourself, Sam, especially. I don't know how Bobby you react to getting stuff wrong, but I know Sam will get like angry if he doesn't get one of them. But when you guys want to give up, I can give you clues that will give it away. But yeah.
You said 5'11" and shorter, so they can't be 6 feet.
No, 5'11" or shorter.
would giving their universities give it away? And does Sam want or reject that as a clue?
It would give it
You
away
could
for the
do
recent
that.
ones. It would give it away for the recent ones.
Okay.
There's one very recent one that you both should get. And so I'll give you a clue. One of them played for one season at the very start of the quote Tatum era. The other one played for multiple seasons with the Celtics in the 2020s. So you
Yikes.
should.
We're fumbling the bag over here, Sam.
Is Brad Wanamaker one of them?
No.
Oh,
Do you
that's a
guys want
good-
me to just give you clues that'll give it away and say this game was a wash? So
Can we do smaller clues? Is that feasible?
Okay, this is not a smaller clue, but we're getting to the point where it'll probably jog your memory. One's a EuroLeague beast. I'll tell you that. One's did really well in the EuroLeague. Sam got
I
that
have
one
it.
now. So Bobby can put a guess in, but Sam will get that one. I'm gonna put a
Shane
little
Larkin.
asterisk on the thing. Yes, yeah.
There we go.
Shane Larkin.
That's like a.
well,
I don't even. I think you put that on both sides.
yeah, I'm gonna. Well, I mean, Sam will get this when I give this clue. One of them played with Victor Wembanyama. Sam.
Oh, Tremont Waters.
Yes.
Oh, man. I can't curse.
See, I told you. And then the other 2 you guys aren't gonna know.
Well, hold on. So the other one is from the Paul
I'll help
Pierce
y'all
era.
get an easier-ish one. This guy played at South Florida for his college, so I don't know if that'll help you.
Screw this guy already.
He had a long NBA career. He played in the league for 11 years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different teams. Only played 24 games with the Celtics in the 03-04 year because he was traded here. So that's your clue.
I got 2 different guesses.
Mm.
They're both probably wrong,
Mm.
but I'll start with Chucky Atkins.
Yes, correct.
Oh, let's go.
I'll put this in the same category of the big clues. But yeah, this
Turnover,
last
man.
I
one.
think that one deserves at least 80% credit.
Yeah, that was a big one. Sam, would you have gotten Chucky Atkins?
No.
Okay, so we'll give that.
I'm not
Bobby.
going to get this last one either.
I
No.
don't think either one of us are.
I could give you his first name and you won't get his last name. I'll put it that way. That is he
How
played
many games did he play for the Celtics?
3.
Legend.
He went to Memphis. He was in the 1986 NBA draft, drafted by the Lakers, but traded, it seems
In
like.
what
to the
round?
Celtics. 3rd round. So that's helpful. Yeah, he was drafted by the Lakers and waived, signed with the Celtics, waived like less than a month later. He has been, hold up. He has been waived 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different times by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different teams. His first
These
name
are
is
just dead giveaways.
His first name's Andre. There you go.
First
His
name's
name's
Andre?
Andre. Yeah.
Andre Turnovers.
Yeah.
Close. You got the first 4 letters right.
Andre Turner.
Yeah. I don't know
No
who
points.
it is.
No points.
So there we go. I
We can
think
call-
Bobby
we can call that one a
technically
tie.
won, but it was
I mean,
Ass.
that was struggle.
I got
I
no
was-
problem calling that a tie.
I was so sure. I don't know how you guys
100
got
turnovers.
Tyus Edney and Dana Barros and not Tremont Waters.
I just forgot about him.
that is
his
crazy.
name just didn't stick in the memory banks.
I knew I could give you guys clues that would give away
I
Larkin
mean, think about it.
and Tremont,
It
but
took 4 guesses to get to Carson Edwards.
this is true. This is true. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Well, that was fun. Sam, I knew you were gonna be mad if you didn't get Trayvon Waters.
I can't believe I didn't think of that.
I was like,
Yeah,
Sam,
it's
we literally
bad.
did a video on him this summer.
Yeah, I just forgot about it, man. It's
tough.
not even that. Like, I was just like, oh, like, it's tough because he didn't play that much.
Mm.
Yeah,
no,
I was.
It's hard.
I was trying to think after Phil Pressey of like, okay, there have been some other third string guards that were undersized like that.
Yeah.
In like that Brad Stevens since he's been here, but there were not
Larkin had
really
some, like,
specific names that were coming
decent
back
moments.
to me.
Yeah,
Shane Larkin was
Wanamaker
decent.
was definitely Wanamaker's listed at 6'3". That's such a lie.
Yeah, I don't
Anyways,
Yeah, but he's over 6.
yeah, maybe.
He
Anyways,
might be 6 on the dot.
it's close. It's close. Anyways, thank you all for tuning in. Any final thoughts, Bobby?
Yeah, I think we covered it all.
Awesome. Thank you all for tuning in. Make sure to read Bobby's work at SA.com inside the Celtics. Shout out to him for joining us. Subscribe to How About Them Celtics, and I'll let Sam take it out.
Hey, thank you very much for watching. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. How about them Celtics? You want to hit the subscribe button. You'll get our full-length pods, these Talking C's episodes, the game recaps, which yesterday's was just thrilling, film breakdowns, rumor breakdowns, and we're live a half hour before every game. If you hit the notification bell, you'll get all of that right to your notifications. Leave a like, leave a comment. Thank you. You can also find us on Apple and Spotify. If you follow us there, you'll get the audio pods and the game recaps right to your inbox. Again, big thanks to Bobby. Make sure you check out his work. SI Media Inside the Celtics. You can follow him on Twitter at Bobby Kavitsky. He's at all the games. Jack and him will both be there Saturday for Ime. Yes?
Yes.
If you want to
Confirmed.
get in touch with us, hbtcpod@gmail.com. We read the emails each podcast. We have a few waiting for us after yesterday's blowout. You can find us on socials at How About Them C's, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. The Facebook is just the name of the podcast. Our pregame streams are there as well as on YouTube and Twitter. Jack's Twitter at JackSimoneNBA. Mine at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us.
Taco, come on.
Taco's
Taco.
having some fun here.
That is bogus. These guys are ridiculous.